Consider how the new child or family might feel as they walk into your childcare space for the first time on their very first day of childcare. You can ask yourself, if my space could speak, what would it say, and how would it welcome that child? What would make this child and family feel like they belong in this space? One of the very first things I do when I welcome new children into my space, when I have new enrollment, is I make sure I am labeling all of their personal areas in our classroom, especially in where we hang our coats up in the hallway there. I always make sure that every child has a label, so when they walk in they see, wow, that's my name. Even if they can't read, their parents will feel that. So the way I have my home childcare set up is that the families walk into the garage, and that's where they take off their boot, because I have a bit of an awkward entranceway in terms of, you know, footwear gathering and stuff. So we take our shoes off in the garage. There's a nice carpet there, and then the children put their shoes on a shoe rack, and that has a labeled spot for them. And that's not really important to me for organization purposes. I mean, it helps, but it's more intentional about as soon as the children walk in, there's a place for them. You have to do this task, and there's a place for them to put their boots or their shoes. And as they come down the stairs, they come into the cubby area. If you're curious about what this looks like in my home childcare space, you can check out my entryway tour video that I posted a few months ago. When they come down the stairs and they need to hang their coats up, they have a big, beautiful picture of themselves and their name right above their hook. Now, I like to use a picture that I've taken in my childcare space, specifically in an outside part of my childcare space, so that picture label doesn't come right away. I try to get that in the first week of them being here, but sometimes the way children take time to warm up, they won't always smile for the camera, so make sure I have their name and a nice label on the wall, and then switch that out as soon as I can. And then it matches everybody else. So that's just one place I have my labels. I tend to do my labeling in a very specific way. There's fonts that I prefer. I first learned this at a professional development course where we talked about pedagogical documentation, and it's really important that the words on your documentation are legible. So finding the right font. So in Microsoft Word, my favorite font is Century Gothic, and in the Canva program I use, it's Glacial Indifference, I think is what it's called, Glacial Indifference, and it's very similar to the Century Gothic, and I like to use this for their labels. It's simple, it's easy to read. Sometimes on special labels I'll do a fun font, and that's just more to make my childcare space feel like it's reflective of the style I enjoy. But this year I actually am going more towards the simple, easy to read font. And then I like to have a somewhat large picture of their faces in these areas, and I mat it with black cardstock. Then I run it through the laminator, and it's good to go to tackle all those touchy-feely toddlers. It's also really easy to replicate this when it's the exact same, and I can have a little template, just pop, pop, pop those faces and names in, and then it's going to be consistent on my wall. Whereas if I do something kind of more funky, it's harder to like make it all match, and I think matching is what kind of part of it makes it belong. Like, that makes sense? Could be overthinking that a little bit. When children make their way through the door for the first time, what is it that they see? Where are they welcome to in your childcare space? What does it provoke in you? What do you think it might provoke in the children? Is it inviting? My childcare space is constantly changing around, but I always try to have a place that welcomes the children right from the door, whether it's their first day or one of many, many they've had. We worked on our fireplace over the holidays, so there's still some finishing touches we need to do, as you can see, but it already looks so much more welcoming and inviting, warm, and like a place you want to snuggle up with a book. What's the lighting like in your room? Do you have bright overhead lights, or do you have soft, warm lights that make you feel calm? Do you know what the new children are interested in? Can you offer some materials that are similar to what they have at home or what the parents have told you that child loves? Maybe there's a good book that they like, that they have at home, that you could read to them. Which leads me to make sure that you know the child that's coming into your space, their age and their developmental level within, a ballpark, so that you can offer materials that are going to be of interest to them or appropriate for them. So if you have an infant coming, probably not very welcoming to have very tiny loose parts. And so that's just something to consider. New enrollment and new children in your space. If you've seen my tour video last week, you'll know that every child in my classroom gets a drawer with their name labeled. So that can be a way to prep your environment for your new child, have that ready and empty for them. Another space I have labels is in the bathroom here. So I've just got the pink sticky notes to cover the faces and names of the children. But you can see here that the children that I had part-time over the fall all have their faces and name labels, so I'd like to make matching ones for the rest of the children, and you'll see that the new children have their names under these labels here, and we'll make sure they're all nice and straight on the wall once we get them all up, and I have to glue another hook back in that one. But that is just another way that I welcome children into the classroom on their first day. Every child gets a water bottle with their names labeled. These are just simple Rubbermaid water bottles, and everyone will have a waterproof label on it. So I like to have those ready. Nice cold drink of water for the children on their very first day. What says, "I will take care of you and build trust," like a glass of water? A really big way to help children feel like they belong is during rest time, nap time, sleep time, whatever you call it. That is a time when children are at their capacity. They just had a busy morning, had this new experience, and they're exhausted. Their tummies are full, hopefully, and they're ready for a nap. It's so important to have this a welcoming, inviting space, whether it's cots that you lay down in your classroom, or a pack and play or crib that's already set up in a specific place or room, or like myself, I have a designated sleep room. I'm lucky to have that space in my basement area, and it can just stay set up. But I think it's really important that the beds feel welcoming, and the best way you can do that is to have a blanket that is from home, that smells like home, or a stuffy that smells like home, and to let children have their personal comfort items from their home. And I'm going to talk more about that in part 2 of this video, where we're about transitioning new children into your childcare. More than just having a blanket on the bed, I think it's an extra step to have a label on the bed if you can, and with their face, so when they see it for the first time, oh, that's mine. It feels like something that's theirs. And make the bed look like a comfy cozy. Make it like you would make your bed if you can. Pull the covers up, pull the corner down, set their teddy bear just so. Thanks for watching this video. I will see you next time on part 2 of how to set up your childcare for new children. We'll see you guys.